Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Talkin' Town. My name's Adam, and I am joined by my constant co-host Steven today. How you doing, Steven?
I'm doing all right. Still recovering from a busy weekend of SWU. So
We had a lot of Star Wars. It was a good weekend though for May the 4th, and we're out here today keeping the what would be like day 5 train of probably playing, talking, doing something about Star Wars Unlimited at least.
yeah, yeah. Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, yesterday for me.
Mm-hmm.
Today again. So
Man,
yeah,
I wish I could make it out on weekdays more often and better, but a little jealous. The Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of Star Wars this weekend. It was a really good weekend though. We got a lot to talk about today. I know we are over on the Twitch side. We are live with everybody. Let me pull up Discord, see if anybody's over there chilling. All right, cool. Oh yeah, so this is our 11th episode. We've been talking about this for a little while, and we wanted to kind of do like a live recording. And if you guys have any questions, topics, or things to chat about, Steven and I can ramble about this for hours if we don't just go to bed by about 3 a.m. But we'll just kind of jump into kind of what we did this weekend, and then kind of some of the cool things that happened across the country and across the world with PQ season and the big regional that concluded. So it was Lyle. Lyle? I can
Lyle.
never. Lyle, okay.
Lyle.
890 players, right?
It was a lot. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the exact number. Where was it? I meant to pull this up earlier, and I can't find it anymore all of a sudden.
Take your time.
Yeah,
I thought it was like 800 or not, almost 900 players at least.
it was 860. Sorry.
Okay.
860. Finally got it.
That's crazy though.
Like, that was a lot of people.
That
beat the record by a lot.
Yeah, we flew past Richmond's numbers, which was previously the biggest one, and I that just makes me that much more excited for about 3 weeks from now when everyone's going to be up in Minneapolis and hopefully take home the W for Omaha. But we've got a lot to discuss within that. I mean, you and I spent the other night just reviewing like what decks. We looked at everything. The top 8 all the way down to like the top 64. There was more new leaders, more leaders who haven't seen even a day 2 than I can even remember. I mean, we were laughing because both versions of Thrawn were in the top 25, right?
Yeah, it was trying to remember exactly, but yeah, it was definitely weird. It was 20. Wait, am I missing? Was it the side event or was it the main event? Never mind. I'm looking at the wrong. I'm looking at the wrong melee link. I was looking at the.
You're good.
KC one. So it was 23rd and 25th.
That's crazy.
I
know Landon is in here, and he was. I don't know if he noticed that even happened with those, but he's our local Thrawn and one of our many Thrawn enthusiasts. He's the madman with that deck.
Yeah, did pretty well with it for the most part back in February.
No, so
at the KCPQ.
You've got the link pulled up. What is the top 8 readout?
So for Lyle, of course, we had Sabine Wren, Data Vault as our winner. We then had
still just
Anakin. Yeah, right. I know that's something to talk about. We had Anakin 30, so not running Colossus on that, which me personally I think is probably better. So definitely nice to see that. Then you had Quinlan Tarkentown, Sabine ECL, another Anakin Blue. So two Anakin Blues. Yeah, which is definitely interesting to think about. Then you had Array Data Vault, so another new edition Data Vault. another Sabine Wren ECL, and then coming up the rear was one Kira Data Vault.
That's, so there's a lot of things we expect, but that Ray Data Vault, the double Anakin, and definitely the Sabine Data Vault. So what I'm hearing is that this was a good weekend to be a not green leader, because Data Vault is really good. And double green doesn't really make much sense right now.
Yeah, sorry, it took me a second to understand what you were saying there.
You're good. But... I said it in a very unorthodox way.
Yeah, so we're definitely seeing Data Vault just seems to be much better than initially thought. I know, don't get me wrong, the 3 health is definitely meaningful, as a lot of people are saying that 3 extra help helps keep you out of check, as people are describing it, for longer. But I also still feel like the 10 extra cards is almost a benefit to you in this meta, because as long as you just don't die to, Sabine, the 10 extra cards is then benefiting you.
Yeah, we talked about the I think before the set came out, that like thinking that this would unoptimize your deck, and I think that results so far are proving basically everyone's understanding of what optimal means, and like the definition of curving out does not mean you will win the game, or curving up. It's like Piet gets the advantage of always playing big things quicker. Well, does that win you the game if you've, can't deal with Sabine's ground? No. But if, like you said, in the case that if it's not something that's going to run you over, then you have the advantage of 10 extra really good cards, probably, because no one's going to run worse cards. And just because you've got the extra space doesn't mean that your card quality goes down at all. It's just pretty silly. So it just seems that the accuracy of you want something on a specific turn, kind of like maybe like Sabine, or like Sabine ECL still wants to curve out Poe and Wrecker, probably in both matchups or both lists between that and Data Vault. But at the same time, you need it in ECL. That those 10 extra cards just can't be there. So
yeah, playing Data Vault with the Sabine, it lets you play much more of a mid-range deck, yet you're still like you still, for all intents and purposes, are an aggro deck, but the difference is you actually have more closers this time that your opponent has to worry about. And if you're playing against another Sabine, you're also now at 33 health compared to their 25. So that's another benefit.
Yeah, but it's just like when I watched, I can't remember. I think it was Jonas was his name. Close out the Anakin matchup. It was just kind of sitting there like, wow, like a Delphi patrol wing. It's like Sabine doesn't have to sit here and go insanely wide. It can play these like more, Bright Hope style or Chewbacca. I already know it ran Chewbacca, but like it can use these units in different ways, whereas previously it was like, all right, no, we're pushing for damage, and now it's like we can build these taller units that my opponent has to deal with, and they're on a timer with Sabine's ability. They have only so many turns before Sabine will just ping them to death, even with
right.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
It just comes down to, like, hey, you're getting free damage off the Sabine, but because your leader deploys so early, but because you can still effectively play a mid-range game, you're just going to have more tempo because you get the leader flip a bit sooner, and then you also have the 33 HP, so you're probably going to be able to race them anyways if you are against, another more mid-range deck or aggro deck. So and you can just keep playing on curve continuously, and they just are able to, being able to run those 10 extra cards just lets you run these cards that I feel like a lot of people want to play, but they just feel like they can't play because they don't want to dilute their deck, right?
Yeah.
So you get to play these extra cards like Senatorial Corvette, which is just a very threatening space unit because it has Saboteur, and then even if your opponent does out it, they have to discard a card. You're getting to play a bunch of these niche upgrade hate cards with like Ketsu and then like Frisk, and they're a 3/2 2-drop, but at the same time have this utility that you can still use them for with upgrade removal or piloting. So
it adds to that factor of like your card has more room to give you other benefits because you have more cards. It increases your toolbox availability. It increases your ability to just like not lose the mirror or not lose the control matchup into like your common boss blues. There's your vigilance mill or your opponent's vigilance mill is no longer like something that's gonna make your day worse. I
right.
don't know, it's like you can outlast them, and if you're expecting a ton of them, you can play a Data Vault deck and then just throw a single restock in the side, and you might be able to just take game one. But the biggest issue that I think I've seen so far with Data Vault is the Data Vault mirrors. And that is probably where people are going to have to start to understand that either their pace of play has to go even faster, or they're going to tie a lot more. And if they can't pull out game one and whatever matchup they're in with it, like I watched a lot of Kira. I played against Akira this weekend, and he's a super awesome guy. We both got, or I think he got game one. I got game two, if I remember. And then game three, it's like I'm playing a deck with heavy actions, and he's playing a deck with, not resupply, but he's playing like he's got a few actions a turn in Kira Data Vault. It's not like Sabine level or like me swinging with 10 different little TIE fighter level, but we're just doing a lot. We're not stalling. We're not making an effort to drag out the game. It's just going to take a long time to play it.
Yeah, so. And I think that's just a potential concern or element you have to think about going into, I'll just say Minneapolis, because that's the next big event, right? So we've got 3 weeks to try to nail down what the plan is. And, we have now the popularity of all these data vault, this additional data vault, because you had the original Kira data vault, you now have Sabine data vault, you now have Ray data vault. And if you have a bunch of new players picking this up, obviously not all of them are going to be, really, really, top tier players. You're going to have a whole bunch of players that are playing it, and some of this unfamiliarity and just the style of deck is just going to have these games last longer. And so you, as a competitive player, don't have to just think about winning the matchup. Which, you do, but you also have to think about the supplemental concerns of, if this is what's going to happen, I might just have to win game one. And like for an example, I was talking to you this earlier. Like I was, playing Ray Tarkentown. My deck. I was playing against one of our buddies, Daniel, the Denver sector winner, and he he was playing around with Ray Data Vault, and we played one game yesterday on Monday, and it took over an hour. And it wasn't that we were. Yeah.
There's what, you have one tech in the main, and he's got 3.
Yes.
Yeah. That's crazy. So
yeah. So could it have been shortened down? Maybe is that like what the average experience is going to be? Probably not. Somebody will probably lose a little bit sooner, but like if you think about it, that was just our game one. Yeah. And even if you maybe finish in half the time, well, that's like 30 minutes then of your game, and if you've lost game one, you're not going to get to a game 3, right? So you're going to tie anyways.
Yeah, this was an experience in a lot of card games that Control has always presented. I think that like these, I'm going to call it long mid-range, if that makes sense. Where it's just this slugfest of like, where even 3 super laser blasts won't like kill the cockroach per se. They will just manage to survive. They will maybe restore. a lot of this comes from the blue hero yellow or blue hero green archetype of like you said, Ray Data Vault. But like just these styles of units and cards within green blue tend to try and trade and maintain board presence and build themselves up so that they'll just win like a wave eventually and close out the game through bigger units, but ones that may not, interact with your opponent's board too much. It's very interesting, and then the more it develops over the next, like, let's say 3 weeks, all the way leading up to Minneapolis and through the rest of the format, the more I'm curious to see if aggro can maintain its like foothold it seemed to have so far post Django.
Yeah, I mean, Sabine still ended up winning the the events, or at least the Lyle. So I know it was Data Vault, so it's a little different, but I mean, even one of the Sabine ECLs ended up beating that Ray, so it's still definitely a possibility.
So just because we're having this discussion, would you say Sabine Data Vault is an aggro deck?
I mean, I would not say that it's an aggro deck. Yeah. I think it has aggro tools.
Okay.
And that's just an element of the leader, right? You're just getting free damage. You have an early deploy, and you still have very many tools that can let you aggro out, right? I mean, you're still running chips that can pilot, and that's a lot of damage if your opponent doesn't have answers, right? Because it's just you have something on board, you increase the damage output every turn. So.
Yeah, no, and we got to experience some of this weekend, but before we get to like talking about these decks, let's do just like a little recap of KC this weekend since we had talked about it previously. I can't share my list because it's not my list. It's one of Woo's, Woo from the over on the K2D guys. It's his Patreon Vader Blue list, and I managed to go 4-2-1 in 7 rounds of Swiss. I lost my winning in to one of our locals, Landon, and who managed to eventually get third after everything, but he solidified his day one bye for Worlds with that, so that's freaking awesome. That's our third one here in Omaha, and you had a good weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't really complain. I did end up getting second. I ended 5-1-1 in Swiss. My only loss in Swiss being to the eventual champion, who I lost to in finals again, to Derek, who top 8 at Denver. So congrats there. Congrats to Derek. He was
congrats to both of you for making it all the way to finals. That was a long day, and you both played on stream twice. Or against each
both
other
times
twice.
we played.
So I think Derek played against a few times, but
yeah,
I know Landon also played Derek on stream as well. So,
Yep. So yeah, I know I've heard so much about Derek from you and I think Dylan and such. So it was nice to finally actually get to play him, see him live up to the hype.
He's always he's someone fun to play. Even when you're losing, and that's hard to find sometimes, and especially in card games where it can get pretty a feels bad moment. He's just a joy. So
yeah, I think we had a pretty entertaining game. I know they were streaming the finals. I think they got the audio. I forget, but it seemed like we were having fun, and everyone around seemed like. It was a good time. So,
hey, it was a great weekend to me. I was pretty proud to take my little Vader Blue list all the way to where I got it, and even though I fell short, it's like what 17th out of 73 for we'll just say not a tier 1 deck. I'm pretty happy with that. And you getting second meant you got another one of the cool initiative tokens. You also got a whole Carbonite box, right?
I did get first place got the 2 Carbonite boxes, and I got one.
Crazy.
Nope.
Yeah, that's such a you know what? I like packs But if you're going to give me a pack, I think Carbonite box, a whole Carbonite box is not something I'd ever say no to. So,
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
we hopefully people do that in the future. That'd be pretty cool. Man, I got my Swiss written down, but mostly the summary of what happened at least is I have a pretty bad Kira Data Vault matchup. Only in the regards to the idea that like if they manage to hit the ramp into the barrage, which, you know, even if I don't play a Victor leader, my units, you know, all my little TIE fighters just explode. But then my board presence is gone and the rest of the game goes with it usually. But you played, I mean, losing to Quinlan Tarkentown was basically the only thing you had a negative issue with this whole weekend, right?
Yeah, just well, one could say simpler, just Derek. Derek was my negative win rate. So
hey,
yeah, I mean,
he's got me 0-2 in events, so we can join.
And it was so crazy because I always won game one, so I'm like, okay, I only need to win one more game, but it was it was too hard to give up. You know, he was resilient.
He's good at that deck, man. I'll give him all the credit. It plays it very well. You know, watching. I mean, I was right behind you guys during the moisture farmer race in the finals, but it was just interesting to see how both of you swapped play styles of what both of your decks would be from game one. And, you know, you stopped resourcing at 7 for quite a while. He kept resourcing up to 8. And the cards that you were choosing to play, like he pulled Tekken from his sideboard and you pulled your extra Tekken from your sideboard, which, like, in my head, I would have never have thought to do that. I understand the game could go longer, but to me, it just didn't, you know, it just doesn't make sense to me because it's like you're playing kind of like a blocking list and he's playing a very control-y, like precision style list, and it was really interesting. If once the VODs get uploaded and whoever is cutting the content, I'll be excited to watch some more of, because I have the file. I'm just not an expert on how to do that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like with the tech thing, I mean it's just with a lot of the heroism matchups, tech is just very good. Because most heroism decks, with the exception of Sabine, probably just always has to kill the tech. I mean, Quinlan does have tools to kill you, which is kind of how he got me game 3. He just put a lot of pressure in space, and then it was very difficult for me to recover. But the other thing against Quinlan, too, is because they run Ahsoka's and they run Force Throws, tech is kind of another option for you to just, you know, have a play on a turn, right? Because if they're having you discard your hand, having the extra capability to play from your resource row on a non-seller turn is just really nice.
Yeah, no, the amount of versatility that opens up with that card, especially for both of you, like you concorded from the resource row trying to save another turn, which kept you in the game, and then you were looking for it again, and it's like, if you have it there, does the game go longer? Does he close it out? Does he, you know, it's just what tech brings to the table that, you know, the heroism can, like you said, provide. So
yep.
Thank you everything that FFG never printed a tech for the villains. Like, holy cow, that would be obnoxious. And they can already play him, but man,
yeah,
I don't want boss players to have tech too. You know?
Oh, just wait till you play Ray Data Vault and they can play tech 10 times.
Oh, great.
Because Daniel pointed out to me yesterday how, you know, you run the triple tech. Well, or 10 times. Yeah, I think so. Because you have the triple tech and then you can play home 1 to get tech back after it dies. But the other thing you can do is the deck runs Spark of Hope. So you just smuggle out tech, and if they kill it, you can hold the Spark of Hope to just put it back in your resource row.
Thanks, I hate it. Does it run restock in the main at all? Probably not.
Not in the list that I've seen. It's been sideboarded.
I saw that it also won another event this weekend. It won a planetary qualifier, correct?
Right. So it won the planetary qualifier in what is it, Newington? I
Yeah.
think is what it's called. Yeah, Newington, Connecticut, and then it won a side event, I thought, as well, and I can't remember where that's at.
That's crazy though. Like I read the report from the player that took it to Newington. He had basically looked at how it performed in day one of Swiss at Lille, took the same deck with, not a lot of experience, I think he said, and then just ran the gauntlet the next day at a PQ. Not just a PQ, but a very big PQ.
The largest PQ.
Yeah. And managed to take that home, which, you know what? Kudos to him because, man, I enjoy playing new decks, but if I were to like try and take a new deck to that size of event, I don't know. I've
right.
I like at least some foothold in my, but good for him, good for both of them, because I know it was Ysera that took the one to Lille, which everyone kind of knows he's a very good player over in the EU, and just constantly innovating too, which is really neat.
Oh yeah, 62 cards.
When Data Vault was just a bonus for you.
Yep.
There was a lot that happened at that PQ. There's a Vader Yellow that got top 8 that I was very excited, and I need to actually, I haven't had a chance to sit down since Sunday and play any games, but I might have to give that thing a go, because that's just a transport style Vader Yellow list that piqued my interest.
I also saw Tarkin Blue also made top 8, and I'm like, ooh, that actually seems pretty fun. I could potentially see that being at least decent into some of this Data Vault stuff, because I don't feel like a lot of these Data Vault decks, outside of the Kira anyways, are running effective removal in the same sense. So if you're just continuously buffing your units, you're just going to out-trade, and
yeah,
it's something that I think I might be playing around with here.
Oh, you know what? If you do, you'll have to let us know, because that honestly, I really like Tarkin as a leader. I know we've talked about this, but he the ability to buff any Imperial unit only gets better with every set. For as long as he's around. Sorry, I thought I heard something in the background. What's really neat about it though is that he's still a 5-drop. He's still kind of hard to deal with, and people always forget how good the Incinerator Trooper might be, especially in a deck that allows him to just make him so much stronger.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something about it that, if you're one of a style of player that, you like what you do with Rey, anything that garners experience and making units bigger changes the math on things that people consider so static, or mentally they look at something and think it could never be different. So yep. It's just a very interesting approach to the game that people need to remember, for sure.
For sure.
Man, we had, that would be one of the sectors, or not the sectors. Lyle ends with Sabine Data Vault taking it, which is still a really cool list. If you haven't, I would suggest everyone go check that thing out. You can go find all of these things that we're talking about or looking at over on the SWU Competitive Hub. If you can, Steven, you can share that in the Twitch chat, and people can kind of go check out the results and look at all the deck lists. So Lyle and then RKC trip went really well. I had a great time, considering that I was the lowest placing one out of the Omaha guys, being 17th. I was pretty happy with that. We have a 2nd and 3rd, and 17th is pretty good numbers. And then Sunday, that's right. So Sunday we played in a store showdown over in Lincoln, because we haven't had one here in Omaha yet, which I'm very excited for them to start back up. We played at, it was Collective 365, right? That's what it was called? I think so.
Yeah, it was Collective 365. Sorry, I was reading chat.
You're fine. Oh, we got a question from Landon over here. We'll get you here in just a sec, Landon. Uh, the yeah, we played at the Lincoln 365, and basically I took Vader again, but I swapped from Vader Blue to Vader Yellow. And honestly, I practiced both quite a bit leading up to KC. And Yellow is definitely the deck that's better into Sabine. But the deck that would be better into, like, I think, at least at the time, what I thought the Kira meta was Blue. Just because, or at least like a heavy Chewbacca-ish meta as well. You know, with a Chewbacca unit. I thought that No Glory Only Results is a very important card. So, I also had just a decent amount of familiarity with that list as well. The Malevolence was always something that people never saw coming. And blue units to restore and kind of just keep me afloat for a little longer than sometimes yellow feels like it can fumble with these like maxed out like 2 health units was just a comfort thing. But I think I'll practice yellow going forward. And you and I both managed to go 3-1 there. And we had 4 rounds of Swiss, best of 1. You got first, I got second, and Miguel got third, and Daniel got 4th. All of us at 3-1, which is kind of wild, but you know what? That's
all of us beating each other.
Yeah, it was
we all
just a little, down the line. How does this actually work out? And we figured it out that those were the breakers. But
yeah,
like you had mentioned, Daniel was on Ray Data Vault and Miguel was on Sabine Data Vault, so they tested out the new stuff. It was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know how I felt about best of 1. But I don't think I would be opposed to doing it again in the future. It just depends on, I don't know. It depends on how far I travel, I guess.
Right. I mean, for what it was kind of a nice, nice surprise after being out all day on Saturday, and then that event was over in like 2 hours. So it was just kind of nice to be able to get back home at a decent hour. Yeah, so it just kind of worked out well in that regard for me.
I would definitely go back. The store was really nice. The folks that we talked to were really cool there. Yeah, it was a good time. I hope
gives an old school gamer shop vibe.
It did. It gave me that like I would have been playing there like 15 years ago when I had just started a card game. But it was cool. Yeah, I mean, that was just kind of like what our weekend surmised to. And I know you said you played a little bit yesterday at League. And yeah, we can kind of start rolling into at least Landon's question here. Did you see that in the chat?
Yep. Okay. So Landon was asking what we're all thinking of playing for the regional qualifier that's coming up and what we think the meta will look like.
So let's answer the second part of that question first. Because the meta and what we're assuming it might look like all the way up till then is how we're going to play in for it. But I think more people are going to try out Data Vault and more different leaders. No.
Yep, I agree. It's going to definitely be very interesting because I think Sabine Data Vault is definitely going to be popular for a lot of people. Because I feel like it converting over to Data Vault is going to attract a lot more players to it than who normally wouldn't play Sabine ECL, because you have a lot of these players that are just like never going to play an aggro deck. But Sabine Data Vault kind of, I feel like it doesn't have that that characteristic. Like it has elements of it, and you can still very much just play tempo board, swing to base, etc. And Sabine ECL, you have to go phase. Sabine Data Vault, you don't. And so I think that flexibility is just going to be nice for a lot of players and let them still kind of have this play slightly more aggressive into some of these decks. And then for Ray, at least, I think it'll help a bit with the Kira matchup to an extent because you're not going to be able to be milled out in the same sense. You get to play a lot of cards that are going to help you go wide pretty extensively, and you just have so much. Oh gosh, what's the word I want to use? I don't want to say regurgitation. While just ability to bring stuff back with how you can
triple home one and
triple home one. You have triple tech that you can put back in your resource row. Yeah. You have U-wing reinforcement to just replenish the board, and with the way that the list is built out, getting 3 units off of a U-wing is pretty common.
So yeah, I mean, this is all like basically this information is going to be like how to people take this right here, apply it to other leaders, and then run it up into the regional, which I don't know what leaders will pop out with this. I've already started like looking at least some of the things I've been playing. I know Vader won't be it because double green's not really a thing, but I thought about it with Poe because I'd been playing so much Poe recently. I mean, I got smoked this weekend by a Han 2 ECL, and honestly, the more I think about it, all 3 leaders between Han, Poe, or Han 2, Poe, and Sabine are capable of like taking this card pool and doing 3 different things with it, and it's really neat to see. And can you catch your opponent off guard? I think so. I mean, there was a Poe that got, I think, 20th at Lille, which is insane to me that someone took Poe ECL that high. I love the deck and I love the leader, but people need to remember to respect his tricks when they can come out. But other than that, I don't know. I know Daniel's experimented a little bit with Bosk ECL or Bosk Data Vault. Now we've got Ray Data Vault on the table, Sabine Data Vault. Is there any? I mean, I could see Obi-Wan Data Vault even being like something to consider. No ping also trades well, is a sentinel. He doesn't have the restore that Ray does, but he's just also maybe a tankier unit. You can still kind of Voltron him up if you want.
Yeah,
I
think now more than ever, at least as of this moment, it is going to be very difficult to know what to expect in Minnesota. I'm sure we'll get a much greater idea here as we get closer to the event and just kind of see what's popular on Petrodaki and such. But
yeah,
I think it's going to be very hard to identify right now because people are still going to be figuring out exactly how everything plays into kind of these new additions into the meta, because I would consider Ray Data Vault and Sabine Data Vault pretty much completely new decks, right? I mean, yeah. I wouldn't consider them the same thing as what we've seen before.
I will also add to that, I would consider them very, very good decks.
They feel that way, yeah.
The only thing that I would need to make sure of is what does their Kira matchup look like right now? I think Quinlan comes down to the pilot. Like, the amount of skill and variation between a Quinlan's result comes down to their practice level. Because there's some Quinlans who will play on curve, and you're just like, all right, I know this man. I know what he's going to do. It's not surprising. All I have to do is work around it. But then there's the Quinlan player that's figured out that knew your game ahead of yours, and they drew the hand that would do it. Or they didn't even draw it. They created the scenarios in which they could succeed ahead of you. And that is what's spooky with me with that character or that leader. I think that, yeah, as long as everyone's willing to try more of this Data Vault style decks, they just need to make sure how well it can handle into Kira. Just because she's probably the premier villain leader in the format right now, without a doubt. And then the other part of that question is, what are y'all playing? I won't be there. If I had to make a professional decision on what I would want to play going out there, my playstyle would probably say I would like to play Han green, but I would have to give these Sabine Data Vault lists a really good try, because I think that in my head when I have the idea of a win condition that people have to deal with, and they have to deal with my board, and I have a multi-threat style playstyle, then I can deal with, and then I can make them think harder. And the more my opponent stresses out in a match, or the more I have to give them to worry about, the better I feel. So that's why I like Swarm style decks or Anthem style decks, or like these things that have cards people haven't seen. So
yeah, I mean, if I had to take anything today, it would still be Ray Tarkentown, just because it's what I know. I'm gonna have to really play around with it, because at least from what I mean, granted, I've played I've played a total of 4 games against Sabine Data Vault and Ray Data Vault, and they haven't gone well. So
yeah.
I'm gonna have to really figure that out. There are a few things that I'm considering. I'm definitely gonna have to try out the Ray Data Vault for sure, but I don't know. I'm really kind of in that opinion where I need to figure something else out. Is kind of where my mentality is at the moment.
I think Tarkentown will. I mean, you have the availability to run like a hand hate style with that deck, but also like if you can't put the pressure on them, then the Data Vault decks will just kind of like grind you out. It feels like they'll just play higher, same quality of unit more times and more often. So
yeah, I mean, like Sabine, it's you can still play it as an aggro deck, and they have so much pressure in space as well that my deck doesn't have a great way to handle if they just kind of want to play pure space. And then my hand discard isn't as relevant if they're able to do that against Ray Green. I mean, they can still trade very effectively on the ground. They're running Traitorous, which makes my life a lot harder. And I mean, they're already running a lot of tools to. I shouldn't say a lot of tools, but they're running tools to keep more cards in their hand. Like they're running Mon Mothma, right? So them just getting one extra card added to their hand like that makes my ability to disrupt their hand that much more difficult.
Yeah, and then like you said, running 3 techs. Even in the middle of the game, if all you have is a tech, they're gonna want to kill it. There's no.
And it's 5 health, which is just an awkward point for me to kill at a lot of points in the game.
Yeah, nothing you run in your list will kill it other than Poe and suited up units, basically.
Yep.
I would probably lean towards Han Green, and if Sabine Data Vault continues to be like an actual presence, probably those. If I couldn't figure out or make Vader work even more, because I'm just enjoying Vader that much. But yeah. Looks like John had a question as well. I'll read this. It's, what do you think you did poorly when you first started playing, and how have you improved at that part of the game? Oh man, there's a lot, because I did a lot of things poorly.
This is hard to think because it's been over a year now too, and it's like, what was I doing back then? Gotta think back to set 1.
Yeah. So the game at set 1 obviously only had 250 cards or so. But what's crazy is that even in that self-contained bubble of that one set, there was a lot of counterplay that some units could create. It's like Syndicate Lackeys was like, all right, do I run Syndicate Lackeys in the main board, or do I run Bosk? Well, how much Sabine am I going to see? And there was a lot of that. And then as the game and the card pool continues to grow, those are the things that I think are very important, that you look at the numbers and why are you running this card, and why are you wanting to take that thing into a tournament over this one, over, X over Y. Like what's your reasoning? I think I put a lot more thought into those cards most of the time, and I think I've kind of grown a little bit more in deck building as a whole. It's probably one of my weakest suits in regards to like my TCG history, but like recently I've thrown every color of Poe into the wind to just see what I can do, and I think I've gotten down my yellow list pretty well. And even if it isn't as meta or top tier, I think I can pull out some victories and surprise people in the way that I enjoy. I'll try and think about some more, but what do you got, Steven?
See, this is tough. I mean, because it was a brand new game, so I feel like a lot of us were still kind of really starting to feel the game out, in one sense. So for a lot of us, it was learning a lot of this for the first time together, and maybe learning it together, and identifying it as a group, not necessarily for the first time, but within our own little communities, right? Because we didn't really have any large scale events really going on outside of I know there were some 1Ks going on across the country. I went to Vegas for set one as well, but it was just recognizing a lot of these things, like taking the initiative, for example, was one of those big things where it was the first thing that I had ever really had to worry about going first in a game, right? So that was a completely new mechanic to me. I feel like that was one big element that I had to really get familiar with and understand. And I think the other thing was just kind of finally getting a subconscious understanding of the flow of the game. So like I felt like in set one, part of it too, because I think the card list was lower. It felt a lot more linear than it does now, right? Mm-hmm. And so,
dude, I look at like some of these lists now, and I'm like, I probably know about 90% of the entire card pool by like heart, just because that's just what happens when you do this too much.
Yeah.
But like when that 10% catches me, I'm like, what on earth is that thing? And that happens more and more and more with these bigger events and the people who succeed. It's like I may know the card, but also the idea of playing that card in that list throws me for such a loop that I'm like, how did they do that? What did they know? So
yeah, and then it's your first time being introduced to it, so now you have to think about what are my outs? How do I deal with this? Because you have to think about it on the fly, right? You're like, I have no I have no stored memory on what to do in this situation.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, I think those are the main things. Really just identifying initiative and just better understanding the flow of the game and what one can allow versus what one can't allow. And I know that's kind of vague, but it's just like, at what point is the game state no longer recoverable, I'll say, or what, at what point is it like, no, I've recognized that I'm on pace for my win condition, even if I'm behind. So I think that those were the main things that I probably not necessarily did poorly, but I think were the biggest gaps, and part of that being a brand new game.
Yeah, the basically oh man. I think what I think I realize mostly right now is like you can see the roots of a game functioning between the first like 3 turns. And from there, it's like, all right, did I do enough to prevent their game plan? Did I do enough to progress my board state? Did I do enough to just win this game, even with on a no unit board? There's so many that apply to different leaders and different base combinations in different ways. That's what makes this game so unique and so cool, is that there is it's like I can prep and and I can still be surprised. And I love that. The part that catches me and reminds me that I need to like stay on my game is that even when I am surprised, how well did I react, and what could I have done better next time? So like, you played Derek twice at this weekend, and then so you had some ideas about what's going on in his list going into the last set. So you weren't like off your foot, like anything that might have surprised you in Swiss. But like I got hit by the Han2 ECL deck. I didn't think it would go as fast and as tall as I thought it would that quickly. And then he hit me with a Radis that costed what, 7? It cost 8, right?
Yeah. No, it cost 7. It's an 8/6/7 drop, so they probably played 6 for it.
Yeah, so he hit me with a Radis, this, that's an 8/6 Sentinel, and 2 for 1 to one of my units because I have no choice but to, I didn't prepare for the idea of Radis coming out. And if I don't see it in the first or second game, because we went to game 3, it's like, all right, I didn't think about that part of the card pool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like, what was it in game 2 when I played Derek in round 5 when we were both undefeated? He sides in a single Fennec Shand, the set, I think, 2 Fennec Shand with ambush, the 4/6, and on attack you deal damage to the defender equal to the number of different costed cards in your discard. And that threw me for a loop because I just did not expect to see that whatsoever. And then I'm trying to think, like, how do I out this card? Because it gets around Fell the Dragon, which I play. It gets around Takedown, so I need a Luke. Plus something to kill it. So that was a piece, and then it was funny because it just completely walloped me in that game. In game 3, and then even in the following series when I noticed he just had 1 copy of it in the side. I'm like having to consider that the whole way through. Now, granted, in the second series, I'm like, oh, he has 1 copy. Okay, I don't need to worry that much about it, right?
Yeah. It adds to his top end, but also like the difference between that and Han are actually big when you think about it. Like if he has that in his opening hand, or like in his earlier turns and doesn't see the Han, which you'll never know for sure, but like you have a lot less to worry about. But that's just the nature of how that goes.
Yep.
Looks like Landon had another one. I'll read it out. Let's see. What are some tips you would give to new players trying to get into the game? Oh man. My first one would be you would pick your favorite leader, pick your favorite character if it's available, but also pick like your favorite leader and just play that one for a while. I probably couldn't strongly recommend it enough that you could try a whole bunch of different things every week. It's fun. But if you're wanting to try and, get your understanding of the game quicker, you're going to just take one thing and run it into quite a few. So just explore what your opponents are trying to do while also learning how your deck functions into most things. I think that's my biggest piece of advice for someone new.
Yeah, I mean, mine's more of a kind of like a currently unknown step plan, number of steps plan. So for me at least, I think it'd be very beneficial to actually run tons of games of the Luke into Vader starter decks, and run those into each other. And I just feel like those in particular feel. And not to say that you even have to just play the starter deck. I think it's even very effective to just take the starter deck, adjust it, and play those into each other repeatedly, because they almost kind of have a nice little synergy to one another, or kind of give and take with one another. And I feel like it helps you just get around some of those nuances, right? Because there's something that you constantly have to worry about with a leader effect of, oh, Luke can shield this unit, or oh, Vader can ping, and now I have to worry about him pinging my shield off if I put it on, right? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of one of the first elements. I think it's going to give you a little bit more information, a little bit more help early on in identifying some of these relationships between cards in the game. So that's kind of the first thing that I would start with. My follow-up then is, if you want to get a more overall idea of how the game runs, and it'd be very effective right now, because it kind of feels like that's kind of this is kind of where the meta is, which maybe it wasn't so in the first 2, maybe 3 sets, is I would play a mid-range deck to start off. And the reason that I say,
I agree with that.
I think playing a mid-range deck introduces you to all the aspects of the game in a balanced fashion. And the reason I say that is if you just play an aggro deck, I feel like you're going to have a much more difficult time identifying your mistakes of, oh, I actually shouldn't have gone face there, but I thought the rule was I have to go face, right? So it's much harder to identify where you messed up because you maybe did an action that if you ordered your actions incorrectly, or if you attacked the wrong target being base or a unit incorrectly. I feel like those mistakes are less obvious in those situations, and even maybe still so if you go back and look at it. I mean, you can always see how the whole game plays out and be like, oh, okay, yeah. But I feel like in mid-range situations, you see some of these mistakes almost more immediately because you're usually so tempo based, and because I feel like this game is a very tempo based game, and pretty much all mid range wants to do is control the tempo, right, or maintain board control in some sense. That's going to help you better, and you have to learn at the different aspects because mid range you're going to have to play a little bit slower against these aggro decks, right? You're like, okay, well, I need to continuously control the board, manage my life, and make sure that anything that aggro puts on board, I can then remove. And then against control, you're like, okay, well, now I have to deal with how do I kill them before they get to their really late game stage of the game. How do I also manage playing my cards so that their removal doesn't affect me? How do I track resources that they're utilizing so I know what I can do on a given turn without just walking into a super laser blast, right? So
yeah, these are all things that it's the age old, like, you'll cut yourself once with a knife, and then after that, if you've learned, you won't cut yourself again. But like a TCG is basically just cutting, like getting hurt. It's not always comfortable learning TCGs. You'll learn breakpoints, but like those are things that after you've spent a decent amount of time, like if you enjoy the game, then those will be you'll pick up faster and faster. You can't do these things, like you can't always hope that your super laser tech will be on the board into a yellow deck. Yep. It's just the nature of how the game is both designed, but TCGs in general.
Sure.
Looks like John had another one real quick. Basically, in regards to the things we've learned and improved at, how did we apply this information to our podcast? Well, when you go about recording something and you have the microphone not in your settings correctly, it does unfortunately leave a pretty sour taste in your own mouth. And I've gone through the process of trying to make sure that everything is more set up correctly in the future. We every week is we'll talk to each other and say here's the talking points that we kind of want to think about, or like what's going on, and we've prepped enough every week that we've gotten into a pretty good rhythm of like, how do we want to get through this next episode? Are we shooting for a certain amount of time? And how fluid we are in our conversation. I can ramble quite a bit sometimes if it's something I'm very passionate about, but it's just a give and take, and doing this live is completely different than what we normally do. But honestly, it all feels the same now because we've just been doing it for so long. It doesn't. Oh yeah, sometimes you're right. I can ramble for a very long time, Eric. Yeah, Steven, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, it's just one of those things of it's an expertise, right? You're going to make mistakes as you go along with something that you're not necessarily familiar with or just don't have the experience of, and you're going to get better the more you do it, right? So I think one of the elements too is whenever you do something new here, it's a matter of kind of figuring out, just feeling it out, right? So I can promise you the first episode, maybe even the second episode, it was just like, I'm sure we were a little bit more nervous or whatever going in because we're a little bit more concerned about maybe the structure of it. But I think by now we're kind of a little bit more relaxed in, okay, this is kind of the product that we're producing. This is what we're enjoying to do. So we're liking it, and we're just we'll fix the little things along the way that are technical. So
say at the end of the day, this is just something we want to do. It's not something we this doesn't make any money, or this doesn't produce much of anything out of it other than just like stuff for everyone. And I enjoy it. I enjoy this very, very much. But this is like my gift or our gift for everyone else as well. It's just something the community gets to enjoy, and we get to share with everybody. So, all right, Eric, you got, will my Palpatine ECL stand a chance? I played Palpatine ECL at the last Kansas City PQ during set 3, and I enjoyed the list a lot. I would not hedge my bets on it. There's a lot of Sabine. And even if there wasn't a lot of regular Sabine, there is now Sabine 2, Sabine Data Vault version. And I would, unless you feel like you can run that deck over, then I wouldn't bet my hedge or bet my house on it. But also at the same time, that's what's neat about this game, is that things like Vader Yellow can exist, and your opponent may not have a prepared game plan, like we talked about with prep. So,
and Palpatine really isn't played at all. So, for all if you run your 10 plus games into all these decks that you're expecting, I can almost promise you, whoever you run into is running the same thing at Minneapolis. They probably are like, oh, well, I'm supposed to win this matchup, and then they have no idea how to actually play the matchup.
Yeah, it's just what happens. And even there's decks that can brute force their way through a bad matchup sometimes when you can catch them on unexpected. But one part aspect of this game is pre-boarding and sideboarding. So if you lose that one game, you lose your surprise factor or game 1, and it makes it hard for game 2 and game 3 for you to allow the surprise factor and the sideboard to make its utility. But I think Palp has a chance. I don't know if it's ECL. So that's my honest opinion. But you know what? If you can produce results that you're happy with, I think that the decks can be on an individual player basis and still do very well. So
absolutely.
Blackhawk 92592. I don't know if you know who that is. I don't. But how did your Ray mirror go last night? I have a feeling is this Daniel? Yep, it is Daniel.
Oh, it is Daniel? Okay, all right.
So back. You can take this one.
So, as I kind of stated earlier, I played Daniel against his Ray Data Vault that he's playing around with, and I think I mentioned that it was over an hour-long game 1. So we played one game. It was honestly a very fun game, at least for what felt like the first, I don't know, 40 minutes. It was grindy, but it was kind of all you want out of a card game, right? And then it just kind of got to the point where, well, he's on Data Vault. He kind of has more late game threats, and there was a pivotal turn where I'm trying. I don't remember the exact order of turns, but I got him to 1 HP, and I think it was the same turn. I could be wrong, but I played a Champs Dula when he was at 12 resources to my, I think, 10, and I put the top card of my deck into the resources row, and at this point, I'm effectively just waiting for a Crate Dragon. I had, I think, 19 cards left in my deck. I had resourced a Crate Dragon from my starting hand, and the top card of my deck was a Crate Dragon. So if that card, and I would have absolutely won if I was able to draw that the following turn and get that. But I was not. I didn't get to see Tech. Tech was like bottom 8 or bottom 10 or bottom 8 of my deck, and so I didn't get to play that ever. But it was very close. He did to me that which I do to many other people. Just somehow stay alive until the end and squeak out a victory. So good job, Daniel. Way to he's very good, So yeah.
I, for one, am excited that you reminded Steven that other Ray decks exist when I told him the exact same thing on Saturday. So.
You did.
I got to say it in front of the people, though. Yeah. Yeah, we can get some practice in on that, Eric, sometime later tonight. Let's see. Daniel, you said you love Palp, but you don't think he's good enough in the meta. That's fair. Between Kira and Bosk, he's probably third in regards to control to me. I still think he's really good, because if you run into that respective, match back to back to back, it is very interesting. But again, like the double green aspect is really kind of hard to it's kind of hard to throw yourself into, because the other control deck gets to run both blue green or red green or red blue. Like the other villainy combinations are just about as strong as you are now with the variety of top end. Blue, I think, is the best just because Annihilator is actually like such a closer for that mirror that like I know Landon ran it in his Kira Vault this weekend. Like I don't think you should underestimate how well that finishes a game that your opponent might believe they're still in. So you killing one thing but killing 3 things just shuts down some decks. Let's see. Worst result is hey, you know what? If you're down for it, then trust me when I say this, that's what I did at Denver. It's a lot of fun. Getting tickets now is even better. I want to show you something.
The cost is less now too.
The cost is less. Everything. Even I might have to enlist you on your help while you're up in Minneapolis. But I picked up one of the Poe soft crates from a guy. But what happened is this thing got kind of squished in the mail. So,
oh no.
Yeah, I know. I paid like $40 for this thing. I way overpaid. But if it never came back, then I guess I didn't underpay. I don't know. Okay. These things are cool. I think that like things like unique soft crates, unique playmats, they're worth the investment just because you're gonna have fun getting those things. Like the experience and chase for that is, that's part of what makes these big regionals and these big events so much fun, is that if you're not Daniel, you still have things to do. So
there you go.
Let's see. Bosk is your backup. Yeah, I think Bosk is. I haven't seen it very much in top 8 results. You'd have to go through Competitive Hub and see like what's been generated, and if there's been. I think there was 2 of them actually in one top 8, if I'm not mistaken. That might have been the Denver PQ. I can't remember.
That's just to me. Personally, I'm not really high on Boss Blue at the moment because I feel like everyone is running Upgrade Hate at least in the side deck, so it really is going to mitigate your bounty potential, and I don't know that it is like it can win like unless you're running restock and playing to play the restock game. I don't even know that by default it wins like Kira Data Vault because they just run extra cards in their deck. So it just makes your milling strategy so much harder.
And you bring a good point about that, because like Bosk wins probably majority of the time through big Avengers, but Kira could do the exact same thing. So yeah,
like Kira has. I mean, Kira also just they can constantly threaten you on board for one.
And they have shields.
Yeah, and they have shields. You only have 3 super laser blasts, and they've got Vaders to repopulate the board. They have Avengers. They've got Devastators on top of that, so it makes even your job harder.
What also sucks is they probably just, if they have Relentless in the side, if they don't have it in the main, which I'm assuming they don't right now.
Most don't.
That then they kind of also win on post board or do much better in post board. So,
yep.
But
and
it controls
and because you're having to mill them out, because I don't see boss winning off of just you attacking them and killing them unless Kira just opened atrociously or just drew atrociously afterwards. So I mean, your game 1 is gonna last an eternity to begin with because they have 10 extra cards, and your strategy has to be to mill them, and so you better hope to win game 1, because I don't know that you're gonna end game 2, and even if you do end game 2, you're probably 1-1, and then you tie. So
yeah, it definitely probably gets to be this, like, I would have to see, like if Landon and you, Eric, were to like sit down and play 10 games, and then after that 10 games, do you reassess for the list and then play another 10 games? Did the difference make a difference? Like, did the changes make a difference? And did the decks themselves meet the expectation of like at least a 50-50? Because if they don't do that, then you're running into the well, or running into the hole, But again, it's the same thing though. Some card pools and some of these lists are so wide open that you may have something that people aren't prepared for. Like when you've used Grenade Strike on me, and I'm like, what on earth? You've killed 2 TIE fighters at once. I hated it, but you did it. It's very good. Let's see. Daniel, you got we should take a deeper dive into Ray Data Vault. I've been playing it with it more, and I've been pretty happy with it. I think you and Steven should definitely do that some more. It's not my style of something to enjoy, but I think the list it's probably the best blue hero leader right now. I would experiment with Yoda as well, just to see, just because the removal is also, it's still Yoda. It gives your You're My Only Hope like more of a reason for bigger targets in a bigger deck. Less likely to hit the things right off the top that you would like to see, but it also gives you the idea that you can remove these bigger issues that Ray, only swinging for 3 has to deal with, Let's see. I'll be curious to see how that deck evolves some more over the next 2 weeks, because I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of people playing it into Minneapolis. I mean, even if you can adjust it around it, I think its game plan is strong enough that it's just it's a catch-all. Like it'll do well into every matchup, no matter what. In my opinion, the Sentinels and the Restore with the the ability to always play out your board back and forth. So
yeah, and I think some interesting stuff that hasn't been utilized yet. I'm sure people are already testing it, but when you look at the list and you're like, oh, they're not running like Chewbacca's, right? Like I could totally see Chewbacca getting added in there just as a undefeatable 5-drop.
You put that on,
and I mean, you still have ships. Well, most lists I don't even think are running Concord.
I mean, Bright Hope, or
Bright Hope.
Any of the Sentinel space units. It's like, oh, it just makes me cry. RPG Imaginings. Sorry. Remember when I tilted myself against Steven this weekend? That was hilarious. Steven, who did you make tilt?
I'm trying to remember.
Because it's usually me. But
no, I bet that's Mike. Or right?
Yeah, he said it's Michael number 12. So
Michael number 12. Yes, yes, thank you. I mean, I that was pretty funny, and I foolishly took your advice when I played Daniel the following round. And I immediately, you're like, oh no, it's Steven. And then I was like, oh no, it's Daniel. So,
man, there's some things about this game some days, I'm sure everybody feels it, that it's like, oh, yep, they have it. It's did they have power into the dark side? And then did they have, right after that, takedown? Did they have vanquish? And then did they have the rivals fall? And then did they have vigilance for 7 or 6? And then did they have super laser blast?
I know whenever I play against Kira, I swear at least once a game, I'm like, oh, I'm in the perfect position. I know they don't have Super Laser Blast in their hand, or they have no cards in hand. All they need to do is not top deck Super Laser Blast, and they always do it.
Yeah, and even in the data vault.
Yes, it happened. It happened in both of my matches in top 8, if I remember correctly. I know it did in top 4. I can't remember top 8 necessarily, but it always happens.
Though. Yeah, it goes. It does. I played against Michael Abraham this weekend, and I was testing Vader Yellow heavily into Kira, and it's like, if I saw my Lurking TIE Phantom, the win percentage of that matchup just goes so high. It's there was really nothing he could do, and I was just like, oh, this turns this into nigh unwinnable without like traders on the board, which really sucks for him. But he was good.
Well, when you have Vader deployed on him, he's just done.
yeah. I almost did the same thing to you, but I fudged that one up. Stinking Poe. Can't wait for Poe to get rotated out. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Sometimes, there's that like partially tilt, partially like, gosh darn it, why do they? But then you got your game where you run hot too, and when you run hot, sometimes with a certain deck, it's like, or they don't hit their whatever their average they're looking for. It's I don't think either player gets to truly have as much fun, but that's how TCGs work sometimes. You're both agreeing to go into this, that there's some pretty likely odds that one of you is not going to have as much fun as the other, even if you take out the whole winning and losing part.
Yeah.
But, it's the expectations of a game. It is what it is. Man, in between now and then, or now in Minnesota, we've got a lot of prep to be doing, at least. And you're still probably leaning towards Ray Tarkentown towards that, huh?
I mean, that's what I'm leaning towards, because it's just it's what I know. It's what I love. So
that's fair.
I want to find I want to find any reason possible so that I can play it and succeed. But when you
sometimes the meta is stacked against you. There's nothing.
Right, like I'm struggling, or at least initially, it feels like I might struggle with some of these new meta additions. Like back in Denver, for example, it was all Django, and I'm like, I don't think I could have played Ray at Denver. I think I knew a little bit in advance that I couldn't go, but honestly, I think I probably would have ended up playing Luke in Denver.
And that's what that awareness and paying attention is, because like if you look at your practice and your results, it's like you have to kind of remember to skew things back if you're doing anything online. But if you're doing things in person and it's still going poorly, Django was just outright broken, but like there was leaders who could play into him still. And sometimes you just have to rotate if you're looking at it from a competitive sense too. Let's see. Oh yeah, you said he had a game on Sunday with Garriello. Is that what you were playing against, Steven?
Yeah, he was playing Garriello.
Garriello, man, still an awesome deck. And you hit the Greedo into the Krennic. Yeah.
It's hard to deal with.
I had someone in Denver who was playing that exact list, and he used Nabat Village to optimize that turn one, and I was like, oh, that's kind of neat.
Ooh, I
But
like that.
yeah, Django was still just able to run him over, unfortunately. But I mean, Django could race with the best of them. That was such a silly deck. But yeah, Gar. I think Gar has a place. I think Gar's gotten a couple top 8s at least as well. So at big PQs, if I'm not mistaken. I need to sit down and go through some more of the SWU competitive hub data. It's been really nice that they've been putting those matrices up as well to like measure opponent or deck versus deck win percentage.
Right.
So.
That has been very nice. Yeah, I was gonna say Gar last won a showdown, I guess, of 20 people in April 19th. So
Okay. I'm excited for Omaha getting some showdowns rolling. I know we've got a regular tournament here in about 2 weekends that'll help kind of get you guys all into like a soft launch for the regional the following weekend. I know a lot of the folks here and over in the Omaha Alliance Discord are, we're getting everybody on their lists that they're wanting to like prep and practice into other styles of decks for the weekend, and just trying to get them ready for as much as possible. Trying to think of what else is going on right now. We don't have any bigger tournaments in between now and then, which is all right. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we did have a lot of cool spoilers come out these last couple days.
we did.
We did. You're very subtle about this. You're not. You were talking pretty high up on how Revan and Malik function, because I didn't know much about KOTOR. So.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say, because you haven't played Knights of the Old Republic, so you don't have the background of those characters, and I think you say you played just the MMO, the Old Republic, or no? You did a little bit, right?
I knew of it, but never played it.
Okay, yeah, because I played Knights of the Old Republic. I finished that game. I played the Old Republic MMO. I even read the Revan novel. So, like I've got a bunch of backstory on that there. The it's definitely a very interesting mechanic that they're starting to introduce with these with a villainy only leader. That's really the big thing. That's interesting, but there's definitely a lot of other stuff in here that we're seeing that like what is it? Like Darth Revan's lightsabers, for example, just a relatively cheap card that's on its own pretty decent, like it, or at least pretty standard, and for no additional cost can grant grit with the right trait. I think Cure Wounds is definitely an interesting card. Someone brought up that with oh gosh, I'm blanking on his name. The Jedi.
Chirrut?
The blind Chirrut. Thank you, Chirrut Inuit. So definitely interesting there. So it'll be fun to see, even with the new leaders, but even some of these old leaders, how you can implement the force mechanic.
I honestly, like, we're what 30 cards into the set. I am so excited to draft this. It looks like we've got a few of the. Oh no, these are all the basic red and the basic green bases have already been. We are now 5 leaders, which one of them is a unique. What's cool about Revan is that he is exclusively a dark side unit, which makes you wonder what else they're gonna do. But also, like, this is the first time we've never had a non-aspect or an only single aspect leader, and they've also got 3 legendaries announced so far in the exactly HK47 here. This card is insane. Did you read this thing?
I did. It was. It definitely plays in with not Malik with Revan, because you want to defeat things to give you an experience. and now you're also getting free damage on top of it. But it's a 2/4 1-drop. So, or well, not 1-drop, but a 2/4 2-drop that you can play on turn 1. And we don't really have a lot of 2/4 1-drops. No. Do we have any actually? Well, I guess R2D2.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. This is a card that when Tarkin Town eventually rotates out, like or is, suspended. Who knows? I don't think it's going to be anymore. But the HK-47 will be like a turn 1 staple probably. Its ability is just so good. It being a 2/4 body. But we've got a long time to figure out what the game is going to even look like at that point.
I mean, imagine that in Kylo Ren, and you just get a buff it, make it a 4/4, and then if the opponent wants to run into it, you can deal more damage to the base.
Dude, even just as a unit in Kylo Ren, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We've got what other legendaries were they dropping today? Or did they drop?
Well, we got Malik. Malik was
That's right, yeah. The first ever single aspect villainy, legendary with Darth Malik. He's a 4/7 with Overwhelm, 5-drop. When played, if you control a Sith leader unit, you may ready this unit. So you've got a few things he synergizes with right now, and more on the way, I'm sure. But pretty cool.
Yeah. I don't know what the other legendary announcement was. Was it the Grogu? It was the...
Nope. This is the one we talked about all weekend that is going to make me really, really sad, I'm sure. Qui-Gon Jinn.
Oh, that one. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah,
this card looks very insane. Insane. So, but yeah, I think everything I've seen in this set so far has just been an absolute joy, because it's like they're all just so iconic, and B, like things I feel like we've missed out on for a little while. I feel like oh yeah, go ahead.
I was like for example, some of these Jedi cards, right? Like you have different cards now for Jedi Knight, Jedi Sentinel, Jedi Consular, Jedi Guardian, and I'm like, oh, that's so fun because it looks like art that you would probably see out of the Knights of the Old Republic game, but that kind of ties into the MMO now as well, because generally, it plays into the storylines that you can and the character arcs that you can run into in the game.
Mm-hmm. And then I see you guys were talking about Bastila, because I think that was something you had mentioned also on the way. I see Mike's mentioning it here. Let's see, and then a Heroism Only Revan, which would be also pretty cool. Let's see, and you know what? I agree with you. They put out an article before Set 4 dropped, Mike, that Sets 1 through 3 were basically like an introductory to power levels in this game, and that moving on past since the release of Set 4, we should be seeing an upscaling in quite a few things that function in this game. So I really hope that this set is well, because honestly, Set 4 has been nothing but, in my words, I think bangers. I think the cards, while not all legendaries are incredible, it has made the game so much better. Every time the card pool expands, that should be the case. But aside from the Django bump, we should be very happy with where I think this game is at right now.
Agree. Yeah. Man, I know they mentioned Revan Redeemed. Oh man, I'd love a Revan Redeemed. I used to play Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, and man, there was so much talk all the time about getting because you had like a light side Jedi Knight Revan, and then you had Darth Revan, and they had a mechanic called Galactic Legend in the game, which was just like this really, really chase character that had like special mechanics around it. Like it was almost like its own kind of tier that your other characters didn't affect in the same way, because certain things just didn't affect Galactic Legends the same way. So I know they talked about getting a Revan Redeemed, and I'm like, oh man, it would be That'd be so cool.
See, I played that when it came out, but I did not play it in the longevity. And it sounds like a lot of the folks that go to like, D-Layer talk about how long they played the game as well.
Yeah.
Man, I am very excited for Legends of the Force. It is shaping up to be just something else. We just haven't had a lot of lightsabers in a while, and I need more lightsabers in my life. Did you see the new convention pack that came out?
Oh, did they announce that? I did not. I did not notice that.
Exactly.
Did they post that on the Galactic Championship site?
I sent a picture of it over in the Discord underneath the spoilers.
Oh, okay.
I really like the cards. They look really cool. The only thing I have an issue with is the color combinations they went with are obviously based upon the tones of the droids.
Mm-hmm.
But like they don't match their aspect colors at all on the cards. And yeah, they are kind of hard to read. The name is on the side, the cost is on the side. I don't expect people to play with these. Like the last convention promo is definitely a little bit more, digestible to the consumer, or to the not consumer. Sorry, that's marketing talk. To the average, player. But these guys look like they're just made for binders. And if
are these, have we also had these cards spoiled yet? Because like I'm looking, like I haven't seen this 3PO. Okay. See, I thought these were literally just reprintings of some of the cards, but I'm like, I looked and I'm like, wait, this 3PO is a 1/3. So that, the chopper, I guess the BD1 is also new. I think the
L337, BB8, and R2 are all ones that we've seen so far.
Yep. Okay.
And honestly, like I said, they look like fantastic pieces of art. I had originally bought the first convention set, but I kind of sold it because I kind of wanted to get a showcase instead. It's something more I could play with. Mm-hmm. But these ones, if they're cheaper within like the dollar range, I might be forking over some money in the future, because I don't remember when Gen Con comes around, but that's the first one that they're gonna do.
Okay. Yeah, I mean they're definitely cool art. I just, at least for me, since I play the game, I like my cards to at least kind of have a similar style.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on the same boat with you. If I want my deck to look like that, I would like them all to look like that. But my collection binder is, unfortunately always a toll I pay. Speaking of which, I still need to get some Hans. And if you're in here, Eric, whenever you get your collection checked out, let me know, because I still need to get the that Han promo. Yeah, nothing should hinder decision making. Let's see. Oh, thank you. Yes. Oh, actually, I don't know if the convention pack will be exclusive or available at Vegas. That'd be really neat. Just opening the floodgates. Yeah, Daniel, I think that this, even if they only did this little section of the set, like we got all these cards today, because I think they put out an article as well explaining like this is our expose of the Legends of the Force, of Legends specific stuff. If this is all we got for this set, I'd still be happy. If we continue to get more in the future, then every single set, give me some more. If it doesn't matter to me. I think the more things you introduce to like this group of people who enjoy this style of game, there's going to be so many people who know so much about Legends, or even just enough about Legends that like Eric had mentioned up further in the chat, it's like you have Dr. Aphra and Enoch, and we haven't seen Enoch since ever. So, give the people what they want, FFG. They know. Trying to think. I mean, we really don't have anything else that Let's see. Daniel and I were joking that they could do an Exodia with pieces of a Death Star. You know what? I would love to see a Death Star unit one day. I don't think it'll be this set, but
I think we were talking about something. I don't know if maybe we did it previously, but one of the cool things that we did is maybe you have like this Death Star card that blows up an aspect of their deck.
Oh, it was a Death Star. Was it a base that we talked about? I remember this.
I don't know if it was a base, but some mechanic where you essentially prevent your opponent from having an aspect that they start with, and then like sure they can still play their deck, and they still have their base, so you still need to kill them, but they're just having to pay more for every card that they play now.
No, yeah, that's right, Daniel. These are also a preview like we got last year. One of these lives, one of these years of my life, I will make it out to Gen Con. It's never something I've never done before.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it like the week after Worlds this year or something? I'm trying to remember. There was some weird. Yeah, it's like the week after Worlds this year, I think.
A little bit overlap this year, so not in the cards for me, but maybe one day. Oh. I think, yeah. I mean, it's the biggest board game convention in the United States. It would be a joy to get to go to, and it's just crazy to me that even Star Wars is there. But you know, at Gen Con this week, they're also, I know, spoiler for Steven, I guess they're doing the League of Legends card game there. So,
oh, at Gen Con,
yeah,
fun. I don't know. I can't get involved in that. We're just waiting for the MMO.
Yeah, that's fair. Grew up that would be really, because is Gen Con still outside of Milwaukee? I can't remember where it's at now.
I thought it's in Indy. Yeah, I was going to say, I thought it was Indy.
Okay. Interesting. That's not, it's not close, but I think I could swing it somehow. Do love me some board games. Something I need to get back into some more.
Yeah.
Card games like can dominate my hobby time. They'll dominate my work time if I accidentally let them, man. I'll just sit there and I'll listen to, you know, every content creator all day and just, I mean, I'm still working, but
I know anything that's not using your mental energy, you're thinking through stuff.
Yep. You gotta figure out and optimize content. Gotta figure out, optimize my list. Gotta figure out what's the meta feeling like to other people. Gotta figure out how to get the, you know, everyone else's stuff ready and how to get the best practice rolling. A lot going. You know what, Daniel? I've actually really enjoyed Vader 4. He looked like he was doomed on the launch of this set, and I have, you know, I'm never usually the one to like pilot something into success when it's unknown. So I'll always like take from someone else's stuff, which is fine with me. But the deck has just, it feels like I get better with it the more I continue to play it, obviously. But as long as the meta doesn't adjust too much into this like Ray green blue, I'll feel pretty comfortable running with it all the way through set 4. So yeah, in Django World he was absolutely doomed. Someone asked me this weekend, what did my TIE fighters do into IG 2000, and I just said they explode, and then the Boba Fett does more damage to my base, and then the tank is gone, so they can exist still because somehow a tank can shoot down all 10 of my TIE fighters at the same time. Yeah, we get to breathe. Let's see. Thank you guys for all, just a heads up, thank you for just being in here. We weren't exactly too sure like how a live recording of us all would go. We were going to do it no matter what, but we're just happy to have you all. You know, every week most of you or all of you check in and you watch a video. Steven doesn't watch his own videos, but everyone else does. And then
I don't have time. That's my I watched the first several and I haven't had time in the week. It's over an hour of my time to do again.
Nah, I know. I'm just giving you crap. I agree with that, Daniel. You know, I got it in my head that I didn't want to get any showcases from set 1 through 3 because I know rotation will come. So I want to see I want to have the joy of spending the next 2 years practicing between Poe and Vader. But also, I mean, I'm sure I'll play more staple meta decks here mixed in, but I want to get ahead, and maybe it's silly to plan that far ahead, but I'm enjoying it either way. That's all I care about. Yeah, get rid of Bamboozle. I think Bamboozle interaction is bad, and anti-TIE fighter tech should be banned, like Snoke. Thank you, Landon. That's all I have to say. And don't put bombing run in your sideboard, Steven. Don't do that.
I think you're the least of my worries at the moment.
Ouch. Damn. Wait a minute.
I mean, it's one of those things where I'm like, I think I have so many other things to worry about, and
Yeah.
I have to just accept the loss in Swiss if I run into it.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. I think you're fine. You're just fine.
Into yellow, it's probably fine. Yeah. I just actually have to have a way to deal with TIE Phantom.
Yeah, I agree with you, Daniel. Landon was teasing me Friday night about putting 2 Snokes in his sideboard, and then we ended up playing in Swiss at the end of the day, and he didn't have them, but you know, it's just the way it is. If it is in there and he gets that far, then he does just kill my entire board in one action. And he has a 6/6 on the field. But yeah, he definitely not worth it into the rest of the meta. It's too slow into regular standard ECL Sabine, in my opinion, which is kind of the real reason we talked him out of putting it in the sideboard at all. So this morning, someone tried to traitorous a piloted unit of mine with Kazuda. Oof. Yep. That's what's really nice about leaders. Or non-Poe pilots, I should say.
I'm surprised that even recognized that at a valid game state. I would assume it would revert because you can't even play it on the leader.
No. Yeah, that would I'm surprised that the game will let you do that, but also I guess this being an online client, you know, I wonder, can you do that in a tournament and actually have it be a mistake? Does that make sense?
That one, no, I don't think so. Because again, I mean, it also goes back to
invalid target, basically, is what it would.
Yeah, it's an invalid target, and they may rule that, oh, there's a valid target over here, so you put it on that. But I mean, again, I think for the most part, most people in the game are pretty forgiving. Like I think there was a match at KC, for example, where somebody had a Chewbacca on a pilot, or Chewbacca on a ship, and his opponent rivals fauled it.
Oh.
And it's like, and he took it back, and I'm like, well, I mean, technically that's a legal play, but they reverted and played on from there.
Let's say if there was another unit on the board, and it is technically a legal target.
Well, I mean, the legal target.
Yeah.
No, it is a legal target.
Yeah.
It's like because it's like power, right? You just select it, and it just doesn't get defeated. So, I mean, granted, his opponent mentioned, he's like, okay, yeah, I'll let you take that back.
That's a hard one to,
Yeah,
because like he doesn't allow him to take that back, and he probably wins that game handedly, but that's the intention of the card. So he definitely made a mistake. His opponent was just gracious. So
yeah.
And
I know that's the other thing too, is like, what do you do? Like in a tournament like that, it's like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and you're like, I mean, it's not against the rules for you to do that. Like, sorry, or no, I'm gonna take it back, and so
yeah, it makes for an awkward scenario. But also, like, this is this is why we sometimes play these games. It's because it's like, We're here to try and
All
play
right.
optimally, and if your opponent makes the mistake, it's not on you to always forgive. But
Mhm.
let's see. Yeah, I would agree, Daniel. I think Snoke is pretty bad in the moment. With how big Data Vault decks are, and he doesn't still hit the 60 or the 70, I guess in this case. He's probably not worth it.
Oh, it says when this upgrade becomes attached, so it would be legal.
To a
Oh,
non-leader unit. Well, I mean, if you read the rest of the sentence, you know, when this upgrade becomes
right.
attached, which it can't be
I
attached.
thought it
So
I thought it read like you know how stuff like this upgrade cannot attach to a vehicle unit. I thought it was of the same like it had a similar situation of this cannot attach only to a non-leader unit. That's how I thought that was worded or would play. So I guess I'm wrong. So it would be legal to play it then. It just because you can attach it, it just the rest of the effect just fizzles.
wow, the first time we've ever streamed on this account, there was a bot that hopped in here somehow. That's kind of wild. Yeah. I think Traitorous, like, between both of you, and I think that was also one of the cards we had talked with Landon about, was it definitely deserves a spot in most 60s. Vader probably, my Vader or Pilot Vader probably doesn't see a use case for it, but I could also, like, I have the card set aside just in case I'm like, all right, into Concord, it's very helpful, but like, it doesn't stop Bright Hope. So,
You want to ban Snoke? I want to ban Traitorists. You know.
well, hey man, a Traitorous Yoda is a good Yoda. So,
No, 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 no.
yep.
We can only allow that. It's only Boyd's Yodas are allowed to get traitorous, and he doesn't play anymore. So you know
That's fair.
it's just it disappears.
Um, trying to think. Trader, yeah, yep.
I know poor Daniel got 2 Yoda draws on me yesterday. One from his own Yoda, and then I played a Yoda, and then he traitorous to my Yoda. I was like, come on. So he got 2 Yoda draws to my 0.
Eric, I had that happen. I played against an Anakin Blue player round 2 at KC, and super nice guy. But my hand, like I had explained earlier, I hit everything. There was one turn I no gloried his Yoda, and then in the following game, he thought he was safe to deploy his Obi-Wan. I no gloried his Obi-Wan to my deployed Vader on the ground. And then he deployed his Anakin, and I killed his Anakin with the deployed Vader on the ground because he was a 7-8 or a 7-8 that just killed his Anakin. So, or only glory. Yeah, no glory. Yeah, no glory. No glory, only results.
Yep.
Such a fun card.
Without it, my control would be much worse. It gave them hope.
It really did. In a. I wish the leaders got more buffs rather than just like Kira, but it is what it is. With negative upgrades and with new versions of the same unit. Yeah, man, I'm thoroughly excited to see how they cast the regional, because like I don't know if you watched the broadcast for Lyle very much. Did you? We were pretty busy.
No, yeah, we were gone all day, so I didn't get to watch any of it.
They had some big names actually come from, like, I know Specimen or Speci. I can't remember his actual. I think it was Joe was his first name, but he was a Marvel Snap streamer and a Lorcana streamer, and they had Wasi, or man, I can't remember his name either, but I can remember his YouTube channel, PTCG Radio. He was a Pokemon YouTube content creator turned streamer, or turned caster for a lot of the big events in Pokemon. He was also streaming the Star Wars Unlimited, or not streaming it, but shoutcasting. So I hope that we get some of the cool guys that come over and they put on a really good show, because I'm gonna be tuned in on my phone every round. I'm gonna be checking Melee to see where you guys are all at and seeing how people's records are, because the FOMO is gonna hit me hard, man.
I know Daniel's asking how many people we have going to the regional, and so let me think. So I know we've got Daniel, myself, Landon. Daniel, you're bringing Mike and another buddy, right? So I'm gonna say 5 off of that. Eric and Sam are going, so that's 7. Yep. I know Chris is going. Okay. So a fourth one of Daniel, so that'd be 9. Michael and Laura are going. That's 11. John is 12. Ryan is a maybe.
Oh, cool.
So that's 13. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, Eric. Is Marcus going? I thought I heard that he might be going.
I think he said he was, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I know. Yeah, there's at least a list of 9 over in the Omaha Alliance Discord that are like, they all have their lists figured out, or at least like their general ideas, and then we'll add Salmon and so
we have at least 12.
Daniel's 3 friends as well, because if they at least 12, which is awesome. It was that was one of the cool parts about Denver, is like we had it's 6 people, still a lot. Oh, and Dylan is going as well. He's in that 9.
Okay, 13.
Yeah, pretty neat.
12 and a half, since apparently he's half KC.
Yeah. I think he he hangs out with both groups, which is awesome. I think, what, like I was telling Eric further in the episode, go have fun playing a ton of draft. I don't think there was Carbonite drafts, but you know what, that should be a thing, in my opinion.
Oh my gosh, I don't need that. That is expensive. Yikes.
Yeah, but
it'll probably be like a $90 draft.
I still think set 4 is a good draft, or a set to draft too. I
haven't drafted it yet, outside of, I guess, pre-release. So, but well, that's not draft. So I've only played sealed.
That's fair. I mean, to me, it's a very similar environment, to be honest. I think the leaders that you hit in this set, the big ones are obvious. I think Luke is probably the best leader in the draft pool. Oh, there he goes.
But I mean, draft is just different because there's a little bit better decision making rather than you just have your pool.
Yeah. But yeah. Sealed is 50. Man, I need to go through and look at the event prices for stuff again. I know that things are cheaper, but we'll have to figure it out. Do a little preview to the event the week before on here. I'd imagine the Twin Suns events would be cool. From what I understand, some of the devs will be there. Yeah, they did that at Denver. They had what they call as a bounty system. And if you're in a cube with one of the devs, or a pod, with one of the devs, you'd get a prize for just playing with him. I think Ben ended up in a pod with one of them, and he got some extra promos. I was like, that's sweet. It's nice. It's nice that they, like, interact with the players in such a way. So, and yes, Daniel, they should definitely there should hopefully be a lot more of them. It was really neat that there was at least a few, but since we're that close to their headquarters, we should be expecting quite a few to show up. Oh no, not Daniel's Twin Suns deck. No, too many shields, too much experience. I put a Bail Organa in mine just because of you, Daniel. Looked like too much fun. Well, we are approaching the 2-hour mark. I think at this point we'll kind of, if anybody has any more questions, we'll we're not trying to speed run them, but we're gonna have to upload this bad boy to YouTube tonight. So Trench Afro will reign supreme. All right, that is a good note to end things on. Thank you, Landon. We don't have to discuss that one, do we?
Nope.
Yeah, if he final showdowns you, be prepared.
Well, it's fine because the rule in Twin Suns is to kill Landon first.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Oh man,
Landon can't have fun in Twin Suns.
Daniel sounds like a dumpster fire. You know what? He's gonna draw a lot of cards. Okay, Daniel, let him have his fun.
Thank you. Thank you. Yep. I think it's a good principle to live by.
You see, when we don't kill him first, he wins. So the duality of Landon and Twin Suns is pretty wild, to be honest. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that should wrap for this episode. But once again, thank you guys for coming. Checking out the Twitch channel. If you feel like it, you can follow and subscribe. But honestly, we're just using this for a live viewing platform for y'all, and we'll get this uploaded to YouTube tonight. If you want to somehow rewatch it all again, you're more than welcome to. But thank you for being here. It does mean a lot to both of us, because like I said, I wasn't quite sure if this would be a sensible idea, to stray away from what we've normally done, but it does mean a lot. You got anything, Steven, before we sign off?
Nope, I think you covered it. Yep. So thanks again, everybody, and want to show the rest of the, I'll say world, since it's kind of a global game. Rest of the world, Omaha's not to be trifled with.
Yeah, I mean, I know Derek won this last weekend, but he was like, "Yeah, you Omaha guys, you're something else." And when the three of us, like I said, got at least like the lowest placement was 17th, I was like, all right, you know what? We can do pretty well. So, yep. We will catch you all in the next episode. I'll probably see most of you here sometime this week at League, but also enjoy your Revenge of the 6th, because it is also still May 6th. So peace out, y'all. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Cool.